All right, so you had a triangle that looked something like this, and they gave you like an angle and a side length. Say this was 17. So you could use this right here. You could use this side and its corresponding angle, and you could say the sine of 64 over 17 equals, and then you could set up a proportion to the other side. You guys remember that? Yes? Right, you remember that? Okay. Alexis, you remember that?
I remember it.
Okay, thank you, Josh. You'd be my go-to then. Okay, here we go. So now, guys...
I still can't see your screen.
Can everyone else see my screen?
No.
What do you guys see?
I can see it.
I can see it.
You can see the Law of Cosines Notes?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Oh, you're out of bounds.
Yeah, I see that now. Hold on. My internet's awful today. Hang on one second. Let me go grab my charger. Okay, guys, so with Law of Cosines, they're not going to give you enough information to find this proportion right here. You're going to have to find one of the sides of one of the angles. This is the Law of Cosines formula. Right? A, your little letters are your sides, and remember the big letters are your angles. So depending on what you're looking for, whether it's a side or an angle, then you would use whichever formula fits best. So I'll show you what I mean by that in a second. I know some of you are like, what? How am I supposed to? You guys aren't going to have to memorize this. It's okay. It's totally okay. We'll figure it out. I'll give this to you on a quiz or something like that so you guys have it, and then you don't have to go searching all over for it. And you just need to make sure that you input everything correctly, because if you mess up anything, then the whole thing gets messed up. All right, so let's go to the next page. Let's start an example. All right, first of all, I'm going to put in my formula. All right, so we're going to be here, guys. Look, if you look at this picture that they gave us, it says a tunnel is to be built along a mountain. Estimate the length of the tunnel, the surveyor, blah, 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 blah. They're looking for this right here, guys. They're looking for the length of A to B. So in our law of sines, we would use an angle and its corresponding measure. But if you notice here, we don't have an angle and its corresponding side measures. Everybody see that? Yes or no? Josh, Alexis, you guys see that?
Yes.
Okay, so we have angle C. So what do we need to find in order to find an angle and its corresponding side length? If we have angle C, what do we need to find?
Side C.
Side C. So this is the formula that I would use. So I literally would say C squared equals, or remember, side A is across from angle A, side B is across from angle B. So I would say instead of A, I would put 212 squared plus 388 squared minus 2 times the measure of A was 212. The measure of B is 388. And then I would times that by the cosine of angle C, which is 82.4 degrees. Anybody have questions? Does anyone have any questions? You understand what I did?
And side, like the side is across an angle?
Yes. The side and angle are across from each other, corresponding that way. But does that make sense the way we wrote it in? Yes?
Yeah.
All right, guys, if I were you, I would do this in steps. I would not do the whole thing at one time, but you guys are going to do whatever you want. I know that. So I'm going to do this part first. I'm going to say in my calculator, and guys, remember, we need to be in degrees, so I'm going to say 212 squared plus 388 squared. Okay, can somebody work along with me so we make sure we get our numbers right? I have 195,488 minus, now I'm going to do all of this together. So in my calculator, I'm going to say 2 times 212 times 388 times the cosine of 82.4. And I got 2 1.757.76327. Agree or disagree with me? Anybody?
Agree.
Okay. So now simplify again. I get c squared equals, so in your calculators, 195,488 minus 2,175,7.676327. All right, Lexus, did you get something like 173,730.2367?
Yeah, and then it went on, yeah.
Okay. So guys, that's c squared. I don't want c squared. I want what?
You want the angle of C.
No, I already have the angle, but I want side c. I don't want side c squared. So how do I get c all by itself?
You take the square root.
Just take the square root. So c is about 416.8, so about 417 feet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes or no? We good? All right, guys, that's all. That is literally all that law of cosines is. It's a long process, but if you have the formula that you need and you plug everything in the right way, it's not an issue at all. So let's go to the next one.
Yes.
All right, find the angles of the triangle. Guys, look, I have 3 sides. Yes? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. It says to solve, to find all the angles. I can't find all of the angles because I don't know any of them right now. But I do know that I have the law of cosines that has a formula that we can use. So it doesn't matter which angle you want to solve for. Does not matter at all. What do you guys want to solve for? Anybody care?
B.
Okay, we'll solve for angle B. That means I'm going to use the formula that has side B, that starts with side B. Everybody see that? If you wanted to find C, then you would use the C formula. So let's just take what we know. If I'm going to find angle B, this is what I'm looking for. So I have side B is 8. So I have 8 squared equals, what's A squared? 5 squared plus C squared, which is 12. So 12 squared minus 2 times A, which was 5. B, which was 12. C, which was 12. And then times the cosine of B. Questions about how I entered anything in. All right, now let's simplify. So 8 squared is 64 equals, I have 25 plus 144 minus 2 times 5 times 12 times the cosine of B. Now just simplify, guys. What is 25 and 144? I get 169 minus, what's 2 times 5 times 12? 120 times the cosine of B. Now, I'm trying to get what all by itself? What am I trying to get all by itself? What letter do you see? B. Okay, so I'm trying to get the cosine of B by itself. So in order to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 169 from both sides. So I have 64 minus 169 is negative 105. So I have negative 105 equals negative 105 equals negative 120 times the cosine of B. So what do you think I should do to both sides if I want to get cosine of B by itself?
Divide by negative 120.
Perfect. Divide by negative 120. So I have negative 105 divided by negative 120. I get 0.875. So 0.875 equals the cosine of B. Am I trying to find the cosine of B?
No,
we're trying to find angle B. So guys, what do I do in my calculator? How do I figure out what the angle is if I have the cosine of something? What's the opposite of cosine?
Arc cosine.
Arc cosine, the little cosine negative 1. So what you do to one side of the equation, you do to the other. So angle B is about how much? In your calculator, hit second cosine 0.875. and I get 28.95. So I'm going to say that's about 29 degrees. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, so I'm going to go back up here. I'm going to say, okay, angle B, and I'm going to say 29 degrees. Now, to solve the rest of the triangle, you could do two different things. There's two different things you can do. You could do the law of cosines again to find another angle. What's something else that I could do that might be a little shorter process?
The law of sines.
The law of sines. Do you now have a side and its corresponding angle measure? Yes.
Yes.
So now you can just set that up and say, okay, well, the sine of 29 over 8 equals, and then you can figure out the other angle. I'm going to do the sine of A over 5, because that's side A. And now we're going to cross multiply. So we have 8 times the sine of A equals 5 times the sine of 29. Divide both sides by 8. So I have sine A equals, so in my calculator, again, we're in degrees, guys. You have 5 times the sine of 29 divided by 8. And I got 0.303006, blah, 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 whatever. I don't want the sine, I want the arc sine. I'm going to do arc sine on both sides. So I get that angle A is about 17.6 degrees. 17.6 degrees. Anybody else do that and get that?
Yes.
Okay, so 17.6. Now I'm solving this triangle. I need to find all three angles. Guys, if I have two of the three angles, what can I do to find the third one?
Add them.
Add them. Good. So I'm going to say 29.0, you can say, plus 17.6 equals 46.6. So 180 minus 46.6. And angle C is about 133.4 degrees. That make sense? Yes, no, maybe we okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Long process? Yeah. Terribly difficult? No, you just got to kind of pay attention to what you're doing. Let's do another one. All right. In this one, how is this a little different from what we did before?
There's no triangle.
There's no triangle. There's no picture. So just go ahead and draw one real quick, guys. Just give yourself some sort of visual. It doesn't matter where you put your letters, A, B, and C. Just remember the angles and the sides are across from each other. So angle A, they're telling you, is 46.5 degrees. They're telling you side B is 10.5, so I'm going to put it here across from angle B. And they're telling you that side C is 18, so it's across from angle C. Now, I can't use the law of sines here because I do not have a side and its corresponding angle measure, correct? You guys with me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I personally am going to find side A. I think that's going to be the easiest. So that means I'm going to use this formula right here. All right, I want to find A. So I have A squared equals, well, B squared. The side across from B is 10.5, so I have 10.5 squared. Plus C squared, that's 18. Minus 2 times A, we said was 10.5, right? C, which is 18, and then I'm going to times that by the cosine of 46.5. Just plugging in whatever goes into the formula. Now, some of you will do this whole thing, this entire thing in your calculator and get your answer, which is fine. But if you don't enter it incorrectly, it can get very, very, very messy. Very messy. So I'm going to tell you guys to do this in two parts. I would do this first part right here. I'd say 10.5 squared plus 18 squared. And I got 434.25. And then I'm going to do this piece here. I'm going to leave my negative, and I'm just going to say 2 times 10.5 times 18 times the cosine of 46.5. And remember, we are in degrees. So I got 260.198, something like that. You guys agree?
Yeah.
Thank you. So then I subtract 434.25 minus 260.198. And I get 174.052. Now, is that the number that I'm looking for?
No.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. I am looking for A by itself. So how do I get A by itself? I take the square root. So A is about 13.19. About 13.19, whatever. So look, guys, A is about 13.19. Now, if I'm going to solve the rest of this triangle, that means I have to find angle B and angle C. I could do the law of cosines again, absolutely. But I also could do what?
Law of sines.
The law of sines, because I have an angle and its corresponding side. So again, this is up to you. If you really like to do the law of cosines better, then do that. That's fine. But I'm just going to say sine of 46.5 divided by 13.19 equals, I'm going to try and find B. So I'm going to say sine of B over 10.5. We've done this a million times. We're going to cross multiply. So you have 13.19 times the sine of B equals 10.5 times the sine of 46.5. Divide both sides by 13.19. And I get the sine of B is 10.5 times the sine of 46.5 divided by 13.19. About 0.57743, something like that. And then I don't want sine. I'm going to use arc sine. I'm going to say second sine on this side to get B by itself. And then I'm going to say second sine on this side. So I hit second sine. And for angle B, what'd you guys get? About 35.27 degrees?
Yep.
Okay, good. So angle B, we have about 37 point, what did I say, 29? 27 degrees. And then if I'm trying to find the third angle, what do I do to find the third angle?
Add them up and subtract by 180.
Correct. Good job, Al. So add 46.5 plus 37.27. And I get...
It's supposed to be 35, I think.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Thank you so much. Yay! You guys are following along with me. 46.5 plus 35.27. So I get 81.77, and I'm subtract 180 from that. I get about 98.23 degrees. So 98.23 degrees. Long problem? Yes. Crazy hard? No. So we're going to have a quiz on this in a little bit. I'm not sure when. I'll give you plenty of notice, I promise, but we're going to have a quiz on just this section. I figured I learned how to do a Canvas quiz like you've done in your other classes. It'd be so much easier for both you and I, grading-wise, all this stuff. So I'll get that together for next time. All right, now we're going to talk... Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
No,
that's-
about that quiz, when you do it, is it going to be multiple choice then?
Yes, you'll just have to submit all your work at the end. Like the last
All
question will be upload all your work. We're going to do it on Zoom. The other teachers did it on Zoom and it worked out really well. Like, so I can see you working on your workspace, you know, so you're not like texting with anybody else, but you'll be fine. All right, the last thing we're going to talk about, guys, is Heron's formula. And this is super easy as well. This is a formula that you're going to use. We're going to give this to you. And this is finding the area of a triangle. If you had a right triangle, pretend that's a right triangle because it is because I, said this, whatever. You guys would tell me that the area of the triangle is base times height divided by 2, right? Here's your base. Here's your height. You divide it by 2 because it's a square. It's cut in half. We also talked about a formula that if you had two sides and the angle in between, remember you could do A times B times the sine of angle C divided by 2. We've had that before.
Yeah.
So now you guys are going to have a formula. This is called Heron's formula, and this is to find the perimeter. Not the perimeter, but you use this formula when you do not have any angles. All you have are all three of the sides. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do And I'll show you the examples. You're going to add up. You have to find your S. And to do that, you just add the three sides together and divide it by 2, or times it by 1/2. Then once you do that, you plug it into the formula here. So let's do this problem right here. Let me write down Heron's formula for you. So it's S times S minus A times S minus B times S minus C. And then to find S, you take the three sides, add them together, and divide by 2. So in this case, guys, you don't have the triangle, but you can write it down. 125 is one of the sides, 280 is the other side, and then I have 315, right? Those are my sides? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay. So in order to find S, let's do that first. I'm going to say S equals. So you S equals. My three sides are 125 plus 280 plus 315. I had to add those up and divide by 2. Guys, it is utmost importance, all right? There's 2 ways you can do this. You can simplify the numerator. You could say 125 plus 280 plus 315 and get 720. And then divide it by 2, which is 360. Or you could do all of this together at one time. If you do it all together at one time, you have to put the numerator in parentheses. If you don't, your calculator will divide the last number by 2, then add the other 2. So whichever way you do it, if you want to just simplify the numerator, that's fine. Or if you want to just put it all together, these parentheses have to be here. So once we found our S, let's plug this into the formula. Instead of S, I'm going to say the number 360. And then I literally just take that number minus every side. So 360 minus 125. 360 minus 280. 360 minus 315. Now, if I were you, because I'm so annoying and I like to see all of your work, I would do this step by step. So if you did make a mistake somewhere, I can look back and go, oh, okay, just a simple calculator issue, not a concept issue. So I would say 360 minus 125, and I get 235. Then I have 360 minus 280, and I get 80. And then I have 360 minus 315. And I get 45. You guys with me?
Yeah.
Everybody good? Okay. And then I'm just going to multiply all these numbers together. You get something big. That's okay. So 360 times 235 times 80 times 45. Whoa. 304 560 0 0 0. So then you would tell me that the area is, you take the square root of that number. What'd you guys get? Anybody? 17,451.6-ish?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay, that's it. That is it. How do we feel?